Ann Pamela Cunningham founded the Mount Vernon Ladies Association in 1853, the organization responsible for saving and preserving George Washington's home, Mount Vernon. In doing so, she ensured future generations would have the opportunity to visit Washington's beloved estate. It was also the first preservation organization in the United States. Ann Pamela Cunningham was born on August 15, 1816 in Lawrence County, South Carolina, at Rosemont, her family's plantation. Her parents, Louisa and Robert, were part of upper-class society, and their daughter's upbringing included every refinement deemed necessary for a young lady. Ann Pamela attended at least 3 boarding schools. The last, South Carolina Female Collegiate Institute, provided a liberal arts education and encouraged women to be active within the school's government. In 1853, Ann Pamela's mother, Louisa Bird Cunningham, was traveling on the Potomac River and passed by Mount Vernon. Struck by the mansion's disastrous appearance, she wrote a letter to her daughter. In it, Louisa suggested that if the men of the United States would not save the home of its greatest citizen, perhaps the women should take on the challenge. These words galvanized her daughter into action. Initially writing under the nom de plume, a Southern matron, Ann Pamela Cunningham challenged first the women of the South and later the women of the entire country to save the home of George Washington. After convincing John Augustine Washington III to sell the property, Ann Pamela Cunningham founded the Mount Vernon Ladies Association of the Union to raise $200,000, about $6 million today, to purchase the mansion and 200 acres. The Mount Vernon Ladies Association is, and has always been, comprised entirely of women, with the regent, or chairwoman of the board, selected from its membership. Vice regents are elected as members, with never more than one representing a given state at the same time. When developing the organization's fundraising strategy, Ann Pamela Cunningham carefully selected each vice regent. They in turn would appoint a board of lady managers who would establish local clubs to raise money. For a member's $1 donation, they received a gilt-framed copy of Gilbert Stuart's portrait of George Washington. For $10, an illuminated copy of the first president's farewell address was sent. The association maintained subscription books of all contributors who gave at least $1, and their names were printed in the Mount Vernon Record. Fraternal organizations, including the Masons, the Independent Order of Oddfellows, and the Knights Templar in New York, encouraged their members to give freely. Military groups, fire companies, and surveyors were challenged to subscribe. The ladies purposely targeted these organizations for their connections to activities George Washington pursued. Concerts, dramatic readings, plays, tableaux, fairs, and festivals also proved to be effective fundraising vehicles. A ladies' strawberry feast in Alabama brought in $334. An open house at the home of Vice Regent Octavia Walton LaVere netted $700. Several notable orators also helped raise money. One of the best known was Edward Everett, a former senator, governor of Massachusetts, and president of Harvard University. Through lectures, a newspaper column, and other activities, Everett donated almost $70,000. Alabama journalist, politician, and diplomat William Lowndes Yancey's lectures also raised thousands of dollars. The Mount Vernon Ladies Association campaign was astonishingly successful. Just 9 months after signing the purchase agreement, John Augustine Washington III had received a total of $85,000. By February 1859, 2 additional payments brought the total to $100,000. 10 months later, the association was within $7,000 of paying off the entire amount. In June 1860, the Mount Vernon Ladies Association officially took possession of Mount Vernon, and preservation work began before the Washington family even moved out. However, only the most urgent projects were possible. The nation's political climate halted most of the association's plans. From 1861 to 1865, the Civil War raged around Mount Vernon. During the war, Ann Pamela returned to her South Carolina home for her health, safety, and at the insistence of her aging mother. During her absence from the estate, Ann Pamela's health continued to decline. However, she mustered the strength to travel north and attend the first post-war association meeting in 1866. By 1874, Ann Pamela was in her late 50s and her health was in serious decline. She had served as regent of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association from its founding in 1853 until 1874 and ensured the protection of George Washington's estate. Upon her retirement, she left clear directions to the association. Ladies, the home of Washington is in your charge. See to it that you keep it the home of Washington. Let no irreverent hand change it, no vandal hands desecrate it with the fingers of progress. Ann Pamela Cunningham returned to her home in South Carolina, where she passed away in 1875. To learn more about Ann Pamela Cunningham and the lives of other women at Mount Vernon, you can visit mountvernon.org/women.
Click the subscribe button below and the bell icon to get notifications for new videos about George Washington and behind-the-scenes work at Mount Vernon.